We have already presented the Tesla Model Y performance to you in a detailed and comprehensive review with a test drive, and we want to see if the Tesla Model Y performance is also efficient. That means we are taking you on the highway. We want to see what it consumes at 100, 120, 140, 160 kilometers h. We want to do the charging check with you. What's the travel comfort? How's the performance? We have the performance model. And also really in terms of top speed, etc. To provide you with some valuable assistance in determining if perhaps the Model Y performance might be the perfect electric car for you. Before we get started, could you check if you're already part of an electric community? If not, we'd love your support with a subscription. Then you won't miss such videos in the future. Now we are hitting the highway with the Tesla Model Y performance. We have set off and arrived at our designated test track where we will conduct our performance assessments, the A9 highway. Heading south. We left Berlin and drove south, taking in the striking scenery along our journey. Yes, and now we want to determine the fuel consumption together with you at 100, 120, 140 and 160 km/h, a quick construction site again. And this gives us the opportunity to talk about the starting point. Stefan, what kind of tires do we have today?
Mixed tires even. On 21-inch rims, 255s up front, 275s in the rear.
Yes, very nice. We have summer tires from Michelin, which means something high quality as well. Exactly, and we now want to join you at 15 degrees and still dry weather, and I really hope it stays that way. Let's take a look here on the A9 at how the consumption develops over time. We'll go to the trip computer and reset the current trip. I have already activated 100 km/h on the autopilot here as well, so that we can determine the next 20 kilometers at an average of 100 km/h, driving continuously at 100 km/h. What does the Tesla Model Y performance consume with its 534 horsepower, 2 electric motors, 660 Newton meters of torque, and a weight of approximately 2 tons? I'm really curious to see how he performs, Stefan, aren't you?
Yes, let's have a look.
That means, what's your tip? Do you have some kind of guess, a feeling, a tendency?
Difficult. I'd say it's around 18.5 now, given the situation.
Okay then, let's see what unfolds. We've determined an initial consumption value right here with all of you. We drove constantly at a steady 100 km/h and used up 188 watt-hours of energy over a 20-kilometer distance. Per kilometer consumed, which corresponds to 18.8 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. Stefan, that's quite a good value, right?
I wasn't that far away.
Let's not forget that we have the performance variant here, also with the high-performance rear motor, all-wheel drive, and 21-inch mixed tires. And all this together, I have to say Tesla really does an exceptionally very, very good job once again. Just like there used to be those that also had a number starting with 2 in front.
Oh yes, and not so few.
We've set the adaptive cruise control to 120 km/h, and we plan to reset the onboard computer now. Our goal is to sustain a constant speed of 120 km/h for the entire stretch of 20 kilometers with the Model Y performance. This will help us analyze the vehicle's performance and gather crucial data. Stefan, do you have a tip, a prediction, or perhaps a target value that you would like to achieve?
With a car like that under 23, I'd definitely celebrate wholeheartedly.
Yes, that would be great. We have a new consumption value. We drove exactly 20 kilometers and have 217 watt-hours per kilometer. That's 21.7 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers, which is just 3 kilowatt-hours more than at 100 km/h. The Tesla handles that quite solidly? Yeah.
Very nice. And we stayed under my desired 23.
Yeah, today is your dream day, right? Yeah, it's going well.
It's going well for me.
Not that you end up buying a Tesla. Oh, I don't know really. We want to check the consumption at 140 km/h with you guys and have the autopilot set to 140 km/h. There's another typical instance of phantom braking. Welcome. Adjusted. And yeah, we want to join you now at 140 km/h. Driven continuously, calculate 20 km back to consumption. Shock with the photon ramp, yes?
No idea where that comes from.
Tesla still hasn't managed to fix that. It was already pretty bad back then.
Wow.
Now it seems I have a slightly elevated resting pulse. Is it already that time again? Indeed it is.
we got here?
21 kilometers at a constant speed of 140 km/h means somewhere around 289 watt-hours per kilometer, which is a significant amount of energy consumption.
That's actually a bit more than what we had initially expected to see.
Exactly, that's 28.9 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers, which is a significant increase to 120.
Absolutely, yes.
We have accelerated to 160 km/h and now want to reset the onboard computer together with you to see what the Tesla Model Y performance can really do at this constant speed of 160 km/h. It's going to be exciting to watch, so let's find out. Yes, support. We don't have autopilot, it only goes up to 140, and the cruise control is 150. Or here, adaptive cruise control, or whatever that's supposed to be here with Tesla. But seriously, I have to drive 160 km/h manually now, right? Yes.
Could you maybe show us how much magic force you've got?
Well, I mean, with 534 horsepower, it does push a bit at 160, right? It's not that easy. Yeah, I think easier said than done, my friend. The complexity is clear when you break it down. Yeah, I think it's that time again, right? Yeah. Drove 20 kilometers at a constant 160 km/h, which means 31.4 kilowatt-hours per kilometer consumed. I have to say, that's actually still a pretty decent value when you consider that we are driving an SUV here. And we also have this specific body type, which naturally plays a role, of course. We have a performance model, mixed tires, and 21-inch wheels. I don't want to praise Tesla too much, but we seem to combine power and efficiency very well, making it a standout feature that has impressed many and set a new standard in the automotive industry. What I completely forgot to mention, please take a look at that in the table for comparison with the other tested SUVs, and we'll also show you directly in comparison. The Tesla Model 3, because many of you might still be undecided. Would you prefer the Model 3, or might you be leaning towards the Model Y as your future electric car? So you also have the direct reference there again. If you're getting a Model Y performance, you definitely want to drive fast, and you can really do that well here with 232 km/h, which we've managed to reach as the top speed. That's certainly not the usual travel speed. It doesn't make much sense either, as the battery wouldn't last for so many kilometers. So, I think maintaining a moderate pace is better for battery life. That many of you generally tend to have a typical cruising speed of approximately 130 km/h during your travels. Yes, 130 km/h is a good speed to integrate into Tesla Autopilot to see how its development progresses and to evaluate its performance, responsiveness, and overall highway safety. Yes, in the driving report with the review, we tested it thoroughly, and here on the A9 we're trying again. We have full self-driving on board to make a lane change, which he instantly stops every time. The assistance system still doesn't offer us the option to change lanes. Quite disappointing given our expectations. Not good because 130 km/h isn't right for the left lane, especially with faster vehicles usually in that lane on the highway. That means if we manually change the speed now so we don't get overtaken on the right side by the Mercedes here, he will instantly switch out of this mode without delay. That means we have to frequently enable the autopilot system here with a double click each time we need it. Now he's experiencing another phantom braking incident due to the apparent lack of radar sensors as he relies solely on cameras to detect objects on the road. And then, perhaps the car seems to come a bit too close in his mind, so he decides to brake to avoid the risk of an accident. I have to be honest, for me the term full self-driving doesn't entirely fit. 0.0 to do. Everyone can say, yeah, in America I'm beta version and really advanced and works really well. We live here in Germany, in Europe, and it needs to work well here regardless of what's happening in America. This is not really part of our daily bread, and for me personally it has absolutely nothing to do with autopilot technology. We're already in the semi-autonomous zone, and I do expect it to properly stay in the middle of the lane and also keep the lane. He does it perfectly. There's nothing to add. If I already have enhanced autopilot for 3,800 euros or full self-driving for over 7,000 euros with lane change assist, then it has to work continuously. And it didn't work on the A150, nor did it work here on the A9 even a single time, which was truly disappointing for us. That means I have to cancel it again and manually change lanes again. And I just have to say, that's honestly just too little for me. Then I basically only have an adaptive cruise control combined with a lane keeping assistant feature somewhere. That has nothing to do with the autopilot and nothing with full safe driving, unfortunately, at the moment. You can also see from the fact that we are on two different highways that this really doesn't seem to be region specific. So feel free to write your opinions in the comments. I know there will be. The Tesla Ultra symbolically emerged, which then had not a single dropout over 58,000 kilometers. But I can only show you what this car has to offer. I can't do more than that, sorry. We want to talk to you a little more about the travel comfort we're experiencing. Stefan, how exactly does your popometer feel right now, here on the highway?
So I'm sitting here really comfortably. I like it a lot. It's soft and supportive.
Yes.
I like it.
Indeed it does. You probably mean the seats, right?
Yeah.
But how does the suspension feel? Because it's absolutely anything but soft. It's more like being on a bouncy castle here.
Exactly. It's just a bit tougher. You can really feel it, of course, being a performance-oriented model. So right now, as we drive down the exit ramp leisurely here...
Yeah, and especially when we drive it a bit more casually at 70, 75, which we often do in your videos, it really pushes hard. Over the left front wheel. What I really have to praise is the go-kart-like and direct steering. We also don't have any major swaying or rocking motions, so everything is comfortably tight. But you know, harder bumps, bigger rough patches can hit you quite harshly. In areas where roads aren't well maintained, you feel it even more. Yes, indeed.
He doesn't like that.
What he definitely has is a lot of punch even now at 14% state of charge, because we'll be moving on shortly to the charging check where we want to show you how quickly does the Tesla Model Y Performance manage to charge at a typical HPC charger from 10 to 80% capacity. But especially with the suspension system, you can really feel its slightly higher weight compared to the Model 3, which weighs over 2 tons. And yeah, but it's fun. It's also a cornering machine, I think. I could also imagine driving over the Großglockner with it, right? I believe...
That could be fun, yeah.
But just like here where we have a bit of steering correction going on, the front axle gets a little bit slippery. It's just an uncomfortable feeling, although here you can really, really nicely accelerate onto a highway ramp. You see that? It immediately goes up to 170 km/h. So it always has enough torque, 660 Nm max. And the 534 horsepower of the performance units is more than enough for almost all normal driving situations. And I believe they will bring some of you real joy, although you might have already noticed that, given its power, it will probably have a higher overall consumption than expected. Then the pure dual motor with 2 drives, or the RWD, either with the smaller or the larger battery. So in that sense, the travel comfort is okay, but not like in the Highland. Highland was nice and smooth, where you really felt like you could ride to the end of the world. For a good trip, I think a good sound system is also essential. And I have to say, Tesla, hats off. Especially here in the performance model as well as in the other models, you always make sure that we are musically very well and thoroughly entertained. And that's basically included in the price. So in that sense, sound is fun, right?
Yeah.
What you should absolutely never forget with a Tesla, of course, is their own extensive charging network. Even if we're cheating on Tesla symbolically today, Tesla actually has a widespread network, you could almost say worldwide now, of Tesla superchargers, which really allows you to reach almost any destination within the Tesla family, at least in Europe and beyond, with the electric car, ensuring a seamless driving experience. No other competitor currently offers this, although it must be said that the charging infrastructure, especially here in Europe, not just concerning Tesla superchargers, is now very well developed and reliable, so you don't have to worry about taking long trips with an electric car, even over long distances. Of course, he also performs the appropriate route and charging planning in his network using Google Maps, and naturally, this is done with real-time data. Very, very fast, very, very smooth, because we have, of course, included a really, really good processor here. And that all fits, Of course, very, very well with the entire software package, because here, as we showed you in the review, you can always click through very nicely. It's all very intuitive. I really must say, sometimes I might need to correct myself, but Tesla is already at the absolute top of the top with this, right?
Yes, especially when it comes to the operating system itself. Everything runs smoothly, with no crashes at all. You get regular updates here. They really do a very good job with that, you have to admit.
And that combined with a real-time app where you really press the horn and the car honks. That's truly a unique feature in this industry, and you can really see the incredible genius and brilliance of this major software giant right behind it. If they optimize everything in the Tesla Model Y around the turn of the year, we could have the best electric SUV on the market in terms of price and value, with exceptional performance and features. Performance and everything on the right track, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, yes.
We have arrived at Ionity in Linta, and of course it's busy here again. But fortunately, there are plenty of stalls, which hopefully are all functioning perfectly. We already have a total of 12 pieces here, so now let's carefully take a look at how well the Model Y performance fares when it goes from 10 to 80%. We arrived with 10% charge, plugged it in, and it's ramping up to see how it handles fast charging, monitoring its efficiency at Ionity. We're eager to see how quickly it can reach higher charging speeds. We have a 400V system. We have the large battery with about 77 kilowatts gross, about 75 kilowatts net usable. And it is supposed to reach a peak charging rate of up to 250 kilowatt, and it should charge from 10 to 80% in just under 30 minutes, making it efficient for users who need to minimize downtime and get back on the road quickly. The smaller battery, which we showed you in the Model 3 Highland, peaked at around 170 kilowatt, and if I recall correctly, took about 26 minutes, up to 80%. So that's pretty decent. We're also slowly but surely approaching 190 kilowatt here. The car, because it has input the charging station, decides whether it needs preconditioning for the battery or not. We didn't see him precondition this time. Otherwise, he pretty much always did that whenever we got here. But we also had the track mode on during the review, Stefan, do you remember? Yes, where he got the battery pack back up to the ideal track temperature. So he probably still has enough heat in the battery. Yes, 13%, he's staying at 189 kilo, I think. But hopefully, he will also manage to reach the 250 kilowatt for you. To charge our electric cars, we really like to use the free kilometers from InCharge. InCharge is an online provider and app where you can earn through affiliate links, internet purchases, and free kilometers. In return for rating such charging stations and doing various other challenges, you can charge for free and save a significant amount of money. We've already traveled over 34,000 kilometers for free with our electric car, which is impressive. Then, with a charging card, you can use the free kilometers, for example, loaded at Ionity. Feel free to check my video description. I've included a link to InCharge for you. Yeah, Stefan, I don't know, he's now dropped to 175 kilos. The fan is also starting to run a bit. Yeah, somehow. He's struggling a bit here. Now the Tesla fans will... Sympathizers say, well, you see, it's not a supercharger. It doesn't have the correct voltage or amperage, or honestly, I don't know exactly what number it has. They claim that's why it struggles. I mean, an Ionity here can handle up to 350 kilovolts and 1000 volts. It feels like it can do anything except maybe charge a Tesla to 250 kilowatts right now. Or am I wrong?
They can't do that at Ionity, I bet. Oh,
They're not allowed to, right? What are you filming? The Benz now.
he should go away. We want to show the car here.
Yes, exactly. Let's bridge the loading time by showing you the Tesla Model Y performance in stunning midnight cherry red, which I think is an extremely nice new color indeed and looks fantastic. So let's present it, even if it comes with a decent premium. Yes, Tesla Model Y performance also means the super turbine wheel with 21 inches, 255/35 R21 at the front. Stefan already told you about it. You can always recognize performance by the red brake calipers and the supposedly better braking performance. Yes, unfortunately, we have to note that we couldn't really find the very best possible brakes in this rather particular situation here. And yeah, I don't even know, this fuel guard right here, it's really not the newest or hottest stuff, is it? Yeah,
That's a little bit old-fashioned, isn't it?
that looks a bit like Grandpa's car back in the day. We used to have that on the loader. Yes, very good. It doesn't splash much and stays nice and clean looking, which is helpful. Of course, Tesla thinks the same thing for its customers. However, in terms of appearance, that's surely not so nice for a performance car. Yes, 275 tires at the back also in the over-turbine rims in 21 inches. That looks chic. And the other distinguishing feature is always the carbon fiber matte spoiler placed right here on the boot lid, even though we don't have carbon fiber anywhere else on the car. So it's kind of unclear why they would actually decide to put a carbon lip on there in the first place, right? Right? Rear diffuser looks good, but they could have kept everything in a carbon look for the performance, right? I mean,
That little spoiler up there looks like it was meant to be there, but unfortunately it was not very well executed in the end.
yes, just like with performance right here, the red line, it's kind of comparable. Maybe it didn't quite make it for performance in the lettering either.
Yeah, good.
No, that was just a joke. Don't let it bother you. It's all a matter of taste. Let's rather take a look at what the car is doing. We're at 30% here. He's cruising along here with 160 kilo. Somehow it's all not so beneficial, right, Stefan? What do you say?
Not quite so performance.
But what is really quite beneficial, and this is also the reason why the Model Y has become the best-selling electric SUV, is because it simply offers an incredible amount of endless space. And I'd like to show you that again here in the trunk. 854 liters of storage space with the silly parcel shelf. That's kind of poorly done. And then please check out the remaining storage volume here. This is just super, super awesome. You can fold down the back seat with 25% in the middle or 24% as we mentioned. And then once again twice, 38% for driver and passenger. You're that here too. Nicely tensioned from the back, so you get over 2,100 liters of storage space. Then you also get a frunk. With 117 liters, Stefan starts stumbling because he's not used to such numbers. 1,000 liters of trunk space, expandable to over 2,100 liters. There's also the roof rack option with a 75 kilogram load capacity and the optional trailer hitch with a 1.6 ton towing capacity. Stefan can attach his small 3-room apartment at the back, don't you think? That's all brilliant and convenient. The only thing I don't like that much is the 72 kilo nose weight, because having 4 e-bikes is not really feasible then. We are at 50%. It's charging at only 104 kilowatts. It's been 14 minutes. It has added 35.2 kilowatt hours. I'm curious to see how long it actually takes. Then finally up to 80%. But it could have had a bit more power, don't you think?
Ja, bitte.
It's getting tougher and tougher. 79 kilowatts, 63%. We've been at the charger for 21 minutes now. Recharge 45.4 kilowatt hours at 79 kilowatts. That's not really that much. No.
That's absolutely no fun at all. But it is indeed really sad.
I'm curious to see how this turns out at 80.
What do you owe then?
Head. Well, 78% charging with 50 kilowatts. That's like a Kia Niro back then. Remember us?
Oh god, yeah.
Look, 32 minutes, 57.4 kilowatt hours. We still haven't reached 80%. So somehow it's been 32 minutes already. Is the Tesla performance turning into a slow charger or what?
I don't find him that cool.
Yes, it stopped charging at 80%. But that's my mistake because the car was set to end at 80%. 34 minutes have passed. Yeah, that's obviously not an outstanding score, one has to honestly admit. Let's take for comparison even an ID4, ID5. With the new software or the Skoda Enyaq, they can already charge in under 30 minutes.
No.
And there, Volkswagen partially increased the charging speed over the air. I actually find that a bit of a shame because with the used one, I think we were super fast, 23, 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And with the Highland, it was also 26 minutes, so maybe it has a different battery chemistry or something. You just don't understand what Tesla is doing. I find it kind of sluggish and unclear. Yes.
It's a pity, really.
So Kia EV6 Ioniq 5 with 18 minutes, or then a significantly more expensive Porsche Taycan with a 105 kilowatt hour battery charge too. 80% in 17 minutes. We don't even want to start with that, do we?
No!
It doesn't release the plug. We need to press inside. Yes.
We also have to want to.
250 km/h is supposed to be the top speed. We actually managed to hit an impressive 255 km/h here in the Tesla Model Y Performance. Yes, Stefan. The Tesla Model Y Performance will eventually get a significant update, just like the Tesla Model 3 Island did. That implies there will be a significant upgrade, I believe, again in the chassis as well as in ride comfort. I suppose there will be similar applications inside, including the fabric and the ambient lighting beautifully illuminated here.
Ohne Blinker hin.
Probably without the turn signal lever, oh yeah. He'll likely get a modified front-end design that boosts aerodynamics and looks. A bit different taillights and then the performance variant. Matte carbon inlays reflecting the rear wing into the interior and racing seats for support and comfort, ensuring an enhanced driving experience. Additional refined details are likely to attract enthusiasts.
Ja.
That will definitely be exciting, and I understand why some of you might feel unsure. Should I buy a Tesla Model Y now, or wait for the facelift version, which could bring several new improvements and features?
Well, I'd say, if the prices stay the same, it might be worth the wait. If Tesla then adds a little bit more to the new model, you never know what's coming. Yeah, it's always a bit of a question of whether you actually go through with it or not.
But overall, even at Tesla, I believe, just like with all electric car manufacturers, and we shouldn't forget this, reality has set in and they don't sell as easily anymore. So the removal of the environmental bonus is actually only compensated if the manufacturer provides attractive price offers. Just like in June, Tesla is also offering yet another attractive environmental bonus for Q2 due to Lagos specific requirements. Yes.
And then it's actually quite attractive once more because, I mean, you get a lot of car for the money you are spending here.
But would you prefer the performance model, or would you say the dual motor or standard range with rear-wheel drive is actually sufficient?
That's actually enough. So I don't need performance or anything. I'm more interested in the other gimmicks that I have here in the vehicle. Large trunk, large front, super comfy. That's more like the performance. Yes, the rear-wheel drive also has enough power for me to move forward.
Sure, seat ventilation might still be added, we forgot to mention that earlier. Well, I'd say, if you don't need all that, and just want a spacious car for family trips and towing your trailer, then you're well served here as it offers plenty of room and utility, right? He's good here, I would say that too. Yeah, and that's actually already the end of the conclusion, if you will. Today, let's make a smooth transition from a speeding 250 km/h to reach our detailed conclusion.
Construction.
So, I can really only recommend for you, if you're interested in a Model Y, that you go to the nearest Tesla dealer. Alternatively, you can always arrange a test drive online in advance. Take it for a test drive and get your own impression, see what attractive leasing and financing offers Tesla might have. I think there's still a 0% refinancing offer for the Model Y at the moment. That's obviously also super exciting when it comes to interest rates. And then I believe you get not only the best-selling electric SUV at the moment, but maybe also one of the best value for money electric SUVs that are available on the market right now, don't you think?
Right.
And with that being said, we've reached the end of today's video featuring the Tesla Model Y and the consumption test and the charging check. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. You give it a thumbs up. Please check again if you're part of the Simply Electric community. If not, we'd appreciate your support through a subscription. We'll then see each other soon in one of the next videos. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy and see you soon. Yours truly, Ollie. Hey, Stefan, well,
What do we have?
what I find amazing is that Tesla, with some vehicles that have the right headlights, can enable this matrix function over the air, highlighting their advanced technology.
It's amazing what we can achieve nowadays with the help of software.
Look at Porsche, that matrix light can cost up to 3,000 euros extra. And with Tesla, you get it over the air for free through a convenient software update. That's really nice, you know, pretty damn good.
Yes.